Today's date is October 17th of 2015. What is your name?
Valerie Juarez.
Valerie, how old are you?
32.
Valerie, where did you live back in the late 1990s?
15425 Sherman Way with Robert Soria, my uncle.
Sherman Way, what city?
Van Nuys.
Very nice. And you say you lived with Robert Soria?
Yeah.
And he was your uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so that I can verify we're talking about the same person. Is that the same Robert Soria? So that was the only photo I had, so I won't be able to show you that again. I apologize for... This is a photograph, just so that we're clarifying we're talking about the same individual. Is this your uncle, Robert?
Yeah, sorry, cocksucker motherfucking bitch.
Okay, can you tell me how you know Mr. Soria?
He's my uncle through my mom, and he took me from my family, and he did things that no one should do to others.
And how long did you live with Robert?
For about 3-4 years.
Okay. During that period of time in the late 1990s when you were living with Robert in Van Nuys, did he ever ask you to write a letter?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And I've shown you a letter.
Under crucial circumstances.
What do you remember what the contents of this letter discuss?
Tupac's murder.
Now, if you remember, or if you have an opinion, why would Robert want you to write a letter about Tupac's murder?
To make money off of Fox 11 News.
Okay, explain how would he do that? How would you make money off?
He would do a lot of stuff like that, like writing letters or making different videos of some sort, playing around and beating up each other and act like a domestic violence.
The impression was that if he could take this letter about a notorious murder and claim that he knew something about it, that they would pay him for it?
Mm-hmm.
This letter mentions a guy named Little Half Dead. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether or not during that period of time that you were living with Robert, did he ever know a guy named Little Half Dead?
No.
Like personally as a friend?
No.
Okay. Do you remember who his friends were?
Uh-huh.
What were their names?
Ronnie, Keith, Michael, Danny,
Do you remember a guy named Danny Patton?
Danny. It's just Danny Patton.
Okay, and then he had a brother. Do you know Malcolm Patton?
I didn't know Malcolm personally.
Okay. Had you ever actually seen Malcolm in your life, or you just knew?
I seen Malcolm.
Okay. All right.
But he was straight and narrow, you know. I only knew who Malcolm was because I would go to the Patton brothers' house and we'd go chill and his brother would be asleep.
But you didn't personally ever sit down with Malcolm and have a discussion? Okay. Also, tell me a little bit more. Now, Robert claimed to have been a Crip gang member. Do you know anything about that?
5 Deuce Super Crip gang.
That's who he would claim?
Yeah.
Okay. But do you have...
He said he had Crip gang members, all on my family members, waiting and ready to take him out if I was to open my mouth about what he did to me.
So he claimed that if you ever told people how he was abusing you, he would have Crip gang members retaliate?
Yeah.
Okay, take a breath. Let me ask you, Valerie, is this letter a complete work of fiction? Is it completely made up?
Yeah, they were feeding me the words.
They were giving you the words to write?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea why Robert had you write it?
Because they said that they would know their writing.
Well, who's that? You mean just Robert?
Robert and Brian.
Okay.
I was sitting there doing homework, and they came in, and he grabbed my homework and threw it against the wall. And he opened my notebook. He made me start writing. And I was like, what do you want me to write? He's all, bitch, just write. I didn't want to get hurt, so I was like, okay. So I started writing the words they were telling me. And as you can see right here at the beginning, I started getting scared and messing up. And I scribbled it. And when I scribbled it, he socked me in the face. After he socked me in the face, he started laughing. Like this. I got this wrong. He socked my face.
So if there was a spelling error, is that what let me lift this up for the camera. If there was a spelling error and you had to, you're pointing to where there's a scratched out a word, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And if you got...
There's another one here.
And if you...
I'm pretty sure on the other half of the letter, there's some on there.
Okay, so you understand that there was 2 pages to the letter?
Yeah.
Okay. So you definitely recognize this as your handwriting?
That is my writing.
Okay.
He was beating me every time I made a word wrong. He was pulling my pants down. He was doing whatever he wanted.
As a result of this abuse, Valerie, how has it affected you?
I'm very paranoid. I can't calm down.
Why don't you just tell me how you feel about Robert?
I hate him. I wish I could hurt him the way he hurt me.
Nobody's been charged or nobody's gone to jail because of this, but there are people that are just having to live with these allegations made publicly.
Well, I hope their allegations go away.
Is everything that I've asked you about here, Valerie, 100% true?
The God honest truth.
And is it something that you'd be willing to testify in court about?
Yes.
And you'd be willing to take a polygraph if you were asked to?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Valerie. Well, I really appreciate it, and I apologize for having to revisit this painful period in your life.
The first question just is a basic one. You are the father of Robert Anthony Soria?
Yes.
Okay. What was your son diagnosed with?
I can't pronounce it real good right now. Schizophrenia?
He was clinically diagnosed as being paranoid schizophrenia?
Yes.
Okay. The first question is, what is your name?
Doreen Juarez. Doreen Soria Juarez.
Okay. Are you the biological sister of Mr. Robert Anthony Soria?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're the biological daughter, of course, of Mr. Robert Soria Sr., right?
Yes.
Okay. Your brother had a mental
condition?
Yeah.
A paranoid schizophrenic, is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Bipolar schizophrenic does run in the family. Because the way he talks, it's always lying. You know, because I'm telling you, when he was a kid, he used to do these weird things. You know. And I did know that he was a big time liar. I mean, everybody in the family thinks he's lies.
Right.
They all know for a fact that he lies, okay? And so I do know that. He cheats. You know, he does a lot of things. I seen him abuse the girl, what he would do to her.
Yeah.
You know, he would choke her. I mean, literally choke her almost, like, out of dress. And I do know that they used to, you know, hang out together and do little minor things like get high and all that stuff. I do know that he used to do that because he smoked a lot of weed and that. But then he's gotten into other stuff. You know, I do remember him taking pills. I do remember he used to hang around with this guy named Lee. I don't know his last name. He was a white guy. Mm-hmm. But he used to tell me, he goes, your brother's too much. He's crazy, you know. He would, like, hurt animals, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hurt my daughter's cat. And then the cat was missing all of a sudden. And this was when he was older.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, he's been sick for a long time.
There's a letter that your son had written that implies that two of your neighbors at the time in the late 90s, Malcolm and Danny Patton, that they, along with Lil Half Dead, who was Snoop Dogg's cousin, killed Tupac. What do you think of that?
I think it's a joke, man, because he was fantasizing at that time.
Okay. Was your son, was he in the late 90s diagnosed at that time? And do you remember, was he taking any type of medication at the time?
Yeah, he was taking it for his medicine. The name I don't recall, but...
Do you remember the Patton brothers?
Yeah, he used to live across the street from us.
They used to live across the street from you? Okay.
Do you remember in Reseda the Patton brothers, Malcolm and Danny?
I remember them when they were young kids.
Right. Okay.
They started hanging around with my brother, and that was like in the 90s.
Right, exactly. Did one of them ever confess to you that they, along with Snoop Dogg's cousin, killed Tupac Shakur?
Not to me.
Okay. It's alleged that one of them dictated a confession letter to you and that you wrote it down?
Not to me. I believe it would be naming my daughter because she was around that era at that time.
Okay, and you are the
So
mother.
I'll ask her. I'm the mother of Valerie Juarez.
Okay, and you're the mother of Valerie Juarez. Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your son was convicted in 2009. At the time of his conviction, was he in a hospital at that time?
Yes, at, what you call that hospital? Northridge.
Northridge? Okay, so at the time of his conviction, he went straight from Northridge to Sierra Prison?
He was taken to another place, then from there he moved to Sierra.
The past couple weeks, have you talked to your son regarding this new confession letter thing that's come out?
I asked him to write a letter to me stating that what he went through and all that it was all fantasies.
So he admitted to you, he plainly admitted to you, yeah, I made the whole thing up?
Oh, yeah.
Did he give any explanation for why?
No, it's just that he wanted to be a #1 reporter.
Okay. So this was just kind of a fantasy of his?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, he specifically told you that the letter, the confession letter, the so-called confession letter that he wrote, he just flat out admitted that he did make the whole thing up?
Right.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, does he acknowledge that he's schizophrenic?
He's not going to tell you, but he tells me.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. No, I don't mean to be disrespectful asking that. I'm sorry if it came off that way. Do you recall any in Reseda if your son ever got any type of benefits from the state?
Benefits? Yeah, he got what do you call it? General relief.
And he qualified for SSI as well?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because of his mental problems.
What are some of the symptoms of his disorder?
Well, 5 minutes he's talking normal, then another while he's not.
Okay. And sometimes, and you told me that sometimes he's different people?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't predict which one, but he does it.
You said you can't predict which one sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Malcolm Patton, and I'm 43 years old.
Mr. Patton, have you ever been in a gang?
No,
In your entire life, have you ever been affiliated with a gang?
never.
You just
I seen Malcolm,
Okay. All right.
but he was straight and narrow,
I understand you grew up in Compton.
Yes, that's true.
Do you remember where you were living in 1996?
Carson, California.
In 1996, was any members of your family living out in the valley?
Yeah, my mother and my brothers was living in Reseda. Yeah, Reseda, California. Yes.
You happen to remember what street it was on?
Canby Street.
How about this guy? Do you recognize him?
Yes.
By what name do you recognize him?
I believe his name is Roger.
How do you know Roger?
I met him through my brother.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
Like an associate.
How were you introduced to him?
Through my brother,
Your brother's name is?
Danny Patton.
Okay. So you were introduced to Roger through your brother?
Yes.
Okay. What was your impression of Roger during your encounters with him?
Kind of weird.
Can you elaborate on that?
Just always shaking and and just was weird. He slurred speech. Just kind of odd to me.
Were you aware of him taking any kind of medications or narcotics?
I think my brother did tell me one time that he was taking medication.
Any idea what it was for specifically?
Not specifically, but I was thinking because maybe he's weird.
Oh, okay. You recognize this individual?
No.
This guy's name is Chris Blatchford. He's a reporter for Fox 11 News. Roger had given him a letter back in somewhere around 1998, claiming that you sat down with Roger's younger sister and dictated a letter in which you confessed to the murder of Tupac Shakur. Is there any truth to that?
There's no truth to that at all.
Okay. Did you ever in your life attend a gang meeting at a park?
No.
According to this letter, you conspired with all these individuals to kill Tupac Shakur. Do you have an opinion about why Robert would say such things?
Like I said, I thought he was kind of weird, but there's no truth to it.
Have you ever been contacted by the Los Angeles Police Department in regard to the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
Have you ever been contacted by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and questioned regarding the murder of Tupac Shakur?
Never.
If you were asked to go to court, would you swear under oath that all the answers that you're giving me right now are true?
Yes.
Would you be willing to take a polygraph examination?
Yes, I would.
I'm Danny Patton, 40 years old.
Mr. Patton, where did you grow up at?
Compton, California.
Did you live up in the valley, specifically in Reseda, for a period of time?
Yes.
Do you remember what years those were?
No.
Is it fair to say that between 1996 and 1998 that you did live in Reseda?
Yes.
Do you remember the name of the street that you lived on?
Canby Avenue.
Canby Avenue. Okay. Do you know who this individual is?
Yes.
And what name do you know him by?
Roger.
Roger?
Robert.
Robert or Roger?
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay. And do you know this individual?
No.
Okay. He doesn't look familiar to you?
No.
Okay. And this is who you have identified as either Robert or Roger. How did you know Robert or Roger?
Moved across the street from him.
He lived across the street from you?
Right. In Reseda.
In Reseda. What was your relationship with, we'll just call him Robert for the sake of this interview. What was your relationship with Robert?
No, just a hangout street guy friend.
A street guy friend?
Yeah.
Okay. How long approximately did you know him?
Man, as soon as I moved to the valley.
Okay, as soon as you moved to the valley. And when you were living in the valley, what did you ever do things with this guy? Anything in particular?
No, I just hung out in the streets. That's it.
Okay. While living in the valley, did you ever attend a gang meeting at Balboa Park?
No.
Okay. Can you describe, to the best of your recollection, what what Robert's personality was like?
Looney Tune crazy.
Looney Tune crazy.
Schizophrenic.
Schizophrenic. Do you know of him at the time that you were hanging out? Was he taking medications between those years of 1996-98?
Yes.
And how did you know that?
Because I took him down to the crazy hospital with something off of Sherman Way.
Okay, so you took him to some type of clinic or?
Clinic. Some kind of clinic.
Okay. Did you also aware that he was receiving like SSI for?
Yes.
Okay. Did you understand that the money he was getting was because of his mental condition?
Yes.
Okay. This individual is a reporter for Fox News. His name is Chris Blatchford. Mr. Blatchford claims that at some point after 1998, perhaps in 1999, that he met with you. Do you recall ever meeting with a reporter at Fox News?
Yes.
And what was the nature of that meeting?
Roger wanted to prove to me that he met some reporter at Channel 11 News.
Okay, so Roger had claimed that he knew a reporter at Channel 11 News,
Right.
and you laughed thinking that he was just making it all up.
Right.
And so he took you down there in order to prove that he actually knew this guy?
Right.
Okay. When you were with the reporter, do you have any conversation about anything in particular?
Of a video they did in the neighborhood a long time ago, like gang files.
Was Mr. Blatchford, the reporter, part of that that production of some type of gang expose?
The day I was there, he said he was.
At that meeting, was there any discussion whatsoever about the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
Okay. Robert had given this guy a letter claiming that you and your brother Malcolm, along with a guy named Little Half-Dead. Do you know who Little Half-Dead is?
No.
His real name is Donald Smith. He's a rapper. He's loosely associated or perhaps related to Snoop Dogg. You've never met Little Half-Dead in your life?
No.
You don't know him?
No.
Okay. This letter claims that Robert gave to this reporter that you, Little Half-Dead, and your brother Malcolm were involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur in 1996. Is there any truth to that whatsoever?
No.
In 1996, on September 7th specifically, which was the night Tupac Shakur was shot, were either you or Malcolm even in Las Vegas?
No.
Have you ever met anybody in Tupac Shakur's entourage or anything like that?
Yes.
Is that from your neighborhood associations from where you
Yes.
grew up?
Yes, that's in growing up in the same neighborhood that
Okay.
they grew up in.
Okay. Based on everything that I just told you, that there's this letter and this accusation that you and your brother were involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur, how do you explain where Robert came up with this story?
Oh, he Looney Tune. He'll just make up anything.
Back when you used to hang out with Robert, did he have a wild imagination?
Wow.
Okay. Have you ever been interviewed by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in regard to the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
Have you ever been contacted by any law enforcement agency regarding the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
Would you testify that all of the answers that you gave me today were true if you were subpoenaed to court?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. I appreciate it.